forward.
Indeed, and I'd also like to take this discussion forward with Mr. Manan Dwivedi, who's also been waiting rather patiently. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us this morning. What do you make of this move of the United States of America to finally announce the extradition of Tahawwur Rana? As Mr. Gautam Mukherjee had pointed out, it of course sends a very pointed signal towards Pakistan. Trump has also in fact surrounded himself, especially if we look at his appointments in his cabinet, with a lot of China hawks and Pakistan hawks. So does this also set the tone for America's positioning towards Pakistan for the next 4 years?
Well, I would like to say here in support of the other panelists. The idea is that if we look at one of the seminal texts which was penned down by Dennis Cox in the context of the India-US relations, the central idea driving the bilateral between Washington and New Delhi was estranged democracies. They were democracies, but they were estranged democracies. But now this has changed over to cooperative engagement, which might lead to future allyhood. Now, as far as this particular extradition issue is concerned, I think it is a question of convergence. I think it's an issue of amalgamation of both the country's national and foreign policy interests. If you look at the few issues which bind both India and US together, they happen to be the rise and the hegemonic and expensive designs of China, and then Islamic fundamentalism. I'm saying Islamic fundamentalism, and apart from that, terrorism. So actually, if we look back into the last year, before United States of America was rattled by the 9/11 attacks in the World Trade Center catastrophe that is gone down in the annals of history as the Black Tuesday. America was not very much open to counter-terrorism cooperation with India. But when everything boomeranged, I'm not criticizing the American establishment, then India and US, since in the aftermath of 2001, they entered into a large number of treaties, negotiations, and agreements to counter the threat of global terror. And India has always been a major gladiator as far as the American clarion call of global war on terror is concerned. Now, I completely agree that that the extradition is going to open up new vistas of knowledge for the Indian intelligence agencies. And we are going to know that what actually transpired. Though with the hanging of Mohammad Qasem as a culprit of the Mumbai terror attacks, we already know the entire narrative, that how, as a kind of a live, immediate media messaging, Indian telecasts were misused by the Pakistani terror handlers based in Rawalpindi and Islamabad, and how they were directing their terror mongers in the Taj Palace Hotel, where a few of the Indian Indian security personnel martyred. So that kind of a live telecast of the catastrophe is very much vivid in my memory. So I think it is a major diplomatic victory, and cooperative engagement shines through between India and US as the extradition takes place. Apart from that, I would like to say that super terrorism deserves a mention here. The concept of super terrorism says that the terrorists are going to use their own infrastructure against you. There is this theme of nodes and internodes, where the nodes are the civic centers, the malls, the cinema halls, the airports, and the transport hubs. And the internodes are the railways, highways, and the what do you call, the aeroplane lines, which join the civilized and the population centers. So the terrorists, which India realized and the Americans combated against, are going to use your own money. They are going to use your own sheen and shimmer and capital against you without utilizing their own funds and their own resources. So I personally feel that counter-terrorism is a major converging point between Prime Minister Narendra Modi and President Donald Trump. And in the end, I would like to contend that when the Indian Prime Minister spoke to the American audiences last night, then he said, this is a war. I'm not using language here, but he said that this is a war of which President Trump is a gladiator, and India and United States of America, and both of us are the co-partners as far as the global war on terror is concerned, and which makes it a very timely announcement where the Americans have also begun the reciprocity pathway by extraditing this heinous terror monger to India. That is how I look at it.
Indeed, and I'd also like to, before I of course move on, bring to attention